Hey everyone, my name is Daniel and I'm here to give you a little bit of an overview of what the costs of living are here in the beautiful Guanacaste region of Costa Rica. I specifically live in a gated community called Mar Vista, and we are about a couple of kilometers from the beach. So I will be talking about this region that's pretty much from, let's say, Hacienda Pinilla all the way to Portrero. That includes Tamarindo, Langosta, uh, Brasilito, Flamingo, and all these other areas along the coast, so that you get an idea of what it actually costs in this area. Now, there are other areas that are cheaper, of course. If you go inland, it's going to be a lot cheaper. If you go to the Caribbean, it's going to be cheaper. If you go down south, it's going to be a bit cheaper. But most of the expats, most of the people coming from abroad, live in this region. Um, and this kind of represents what the cost of living are for this area for me. Okay, now you may have costs that are higher or lower, but we'll get through it, and then you can adjust where necessary. So first of all, I'm not basing this on, I'm not adding taxes to my expenses here at all, because this is, I just want to see what the pure costs are. But obviously if you're making an income, you're going to have to pay those too. My rental is $3,000 a month. This is a little bit higher for a two-bedroom than usual, just because I'm in a gated community and I have an ocean view. I have a house with a swimming pool. But let's say you wanted to go cheaper. I think the cheapest you could get is about 1,500 on a decent enough two-bedroom. Okay. Um, My electric is $250 a month. That's because we use air conditioning because it gets pretty darn hot in this region, or humid. And then you can, obviously, depending on the size of your home, you can adjust. But it's about 250. My water is about $50 because we got a swimming pool. It could be less if you didn't have a pool, of course. Gas, this is because I got a gas stove and I have a gas grill. Then we've got car insurance. Now I drive a Toyota Land Cruiser Prado, and it's the basic model. It costs me around $65,000. I put another $5,000 into upgrades, and I bought it used. It was a 2018, and I bought it in 2021 or 2022. So it was already a couple of years old, and I still had to pay $65,000 for it. So just keep that in mind. It's a bit of more of a high-end car for this region. So you can definitely go cheaper, but the cheaper you go, the more repairs you'll have. I have very few repairs. So my car insurance is about $1,800 a year. Machamo is a kind of third-party liability, in case you get in an accident, that it covers the person that you injured. But you're going to have to get your own insurance if you really want to be fully covered, although it can be very tricky. Then gasoline around 200, because you can't get anywhere here without the car. And because it's a big car, it uses more gas. This is diesel. And, public transportation is not something I would rely on here. And I think especially if you're got younger kids, they're not going to be very comfortable going on public transportation. It may even be considered unsafe for some. Then we've got car maintenance. For me, it's just oil changes and fluids, and maybe the brakes once in a while. That's about it. Everything else is pretty good to go. Air filters, yeah. Then we've got mobile phone. This is for 3 people. It's about $20 a month per person, I would say. Then we've got health insurance. So I got my own health insurance, international health insurance via Cigna. This is inpatient only, and this is their gold subscription. And I got a lot of discounts because I bought the whole year, and I got it during a discount time, which was, I think, just at the end of the year. And I put in a pretty big part that I have to pay myself before it actually kicks in. I have this for the worst case scenario type of stuff. Okay. Then this is Medismart. That is something that's part of this sort of hospital clinic called Metropolitano here in this region, where I can get a little bit of outpatient cost reductions. Okay, it doesn't cover everything. You still have other medical fees, and in my case, they come out to about that. That's because you're in the tropics. You're gonna have like stomach issues. You're gonna have dengue, whatever it is, it comes up. The kids get all kinds of stuff here because it's a touristic area. A lot of people come from all over the world, and so everything gets mixed together here. And so yeah, you end up having to pay for medicine and for doctors and appointments and all that. So then food, this definitely can be lower. I sometimes even pay more than that for food because we are partially vegan and vegetarian, and we have some special like foods we have to get, like Beyond Beef meat, which is like a meat that's not real meat, and like two patties of this burger patties are about $14. But food is very, very expensive here in Costa Rica. It's something you got to know about. The prices of, let's say, 20 rolls of toilet paper is about $20. A bag of coffee is like $20. Um, Almond milk or soya milk, you're talking about $8 to $10 for one pack. Milk is obviously a little cheaper if you take milk, uh, but it's expensive. Like fake cheese can be up to $18 for a pack of fake cheese. So it's not cheap, and you don't have as much choice as you think you have. And I thought we would be able to live off the farmers market, being primarily vegetarian, even vegan, but the choices are very limited here. So it's not really even close to what you would be able to find in the US or in Europe, or especially in Asia. So you're going to be eating a lot of rice and beans and plantains. That's for sure. So dining out, obviously, you go out, you have food with the family. We don't do it that often. Maybe once a week we go out. So that's maybe yeah, about once a week, maybe less, probably less. So that's why I put $500 a month. But if you've got a larger family, or somebody goes out more often, or you drink a lot of alcohol, obviously this is going to go up quite a lot more. The other day I was having mahi mahi, and the one plate was $50. Burgers maybe $20. So just keep that in mind, okay? And drinks, alcohol is very expensive here, so that's another thing to keep in mind. Then pharmacy, yeah, you got to buy some meds here and there. This is mainly supplements for us, like protein powder, or vitamin C, B12, that kind of stuff. So that's where I put in about $100 a month that we spend. Then maid services, we use the maid occasionally, not every week, but you could say it's around $25, $30 to $30 per day, for her to clean your apartment or home. Miscellaneous, these are all the little things that come up here and there. In life, it is what it is. Your hose breaks for whatever reason, you need to get a new hose, that kind of stuff, right? Clothes, we don't buy much because you don't need much here. It's basically swimming trunks and shorts and flip-flops and t-shirt, tank tops, bikinis, but beyond that, not too much. However, eventually that stuff falls apart too, because we are in the tropics, we're in the sun, we're in the salt water, and so you need to buy stuff here or there. And you do the occasional trip to San Jose, and that'll cost you like $1,000 because you gotta stay in a hotel and this and that, and then you buy a lot of stuff in one go and you bring it back. Or if you're the lucky ones that have a house in the States or in Canada, you can buy it there and you bring it in. You can lower this, right? Then dance and gym, these are just subscriptions for 3 people to go to the gym, pretty much what we pay. Then our school, we take our daughter to CRIA. She was at CRIA, she just graduated. And so CRIA and, let's say, La Paz are probably the most expensive schools in this region. They are considered to be the best, arguably. But you can definitely lower those costs. A lot of my friends who have younger kids definitely do not put them in these schools because it's too expensive, and they pay maybe a third of that price. You can always go in public as well, school, and just put them for free or practically in Spanish-speaking school. I pay for a school bus as well, because I have only one car, and I'm usually around, doing real estate stuff or things like this, and I just don't have the opportunity to be on time, twice a day to make the drop-offs and pickups, which are, often full of traffic, and it costs many hours of the day. So then storage is something you probably won't have, but I came here with a container, and I was planning to buy a house. I never bought the house because the prices of real estate are very high here, much higher than I ever expected. Everything went up maybe 200 to 300% in just the last 3 years. And so I ended up keeping my stuff in the container until I find something, but so far I haven't found something. This is a large container. This is a 12 by 30 foot, but you can get cheaper, but this is not air conditioned. A 10 by 10 is maybe $150 a month air conditioned. Okay. Travel, yes, once in a while you want to get out of here, want to travel somewhere. I put in about $6,000 a year for the family of three. That's maybe one trip. Some people have homes though in Canada or the US, and so they don't have big expenses, but they also tend to travel a lot more often. So maybe your travel expenses are much higher, but they're not going to be necessarily much lower. Okay. Then subscriptions. This is your typical stuff. Your whatever, your Office 360, your Netflix, Spotify, that kind of stuff. Okay. Dentists are not expensive here, I must say. So that's relatively good. But if you've got something large, like my daughter had Invisalign, that was $3,000. Okay. And I didn't add that in here. But generally speaking, if you got pretty good teeth, this is maybe what you spend on the whole year for your teeth for three. And then legal, I've got two companies here. They're not active companies, so they're not going to cost me as much. They're just inactive. They're holding property. And basically, these are the costs for, all of the reports you have to do to the government, taxes, stamps, and that sort of stuff. So in the end, what we end up with is a total of $125,000 a year. Now you can tell me if that is expensive or not for this region. I know a lot of people who are living at far higher costs than that, but I do also know some people that are living at less than that. I would say under 5 would be very challenging, under 5,000 a month. We're probably closer to 6,000 where it starts to get very painful. And then above that, well, the roof is, the sky is the ceiling. So you basically can see that from my standard of living, and I came in from Switzerland, I was expecting to pay far, far less, and I ended up paying this much per month. It's a lot of money. This is pre-tax. So if you have taxes as well and an income, then obviously you're going to have to, make up to another 50,000 on top of that, right? That's quite an income, and I think for that kind of money, you can live in many places around the world, including Switzerland, and be very comfortable. And in the U.S., for sure, there's few states where you would not be able to live comfortably with, let's say, $150,000, $125,000 after tax money. Even in the most expensive states like California, Florida, and New York, you could live with this money quite comfortably with a family of three. So, having lived in 10 different countries on this planet, I can say that Costa Rica is very expensive for what it is, and for what you get in return in terms of material and entertainment and all that, right? But there is a quality of life here that you will not find anywhere else. Obviously, the nature is uncomparable to anywhere on this planet. The beaches are beautiful. This kind of lifestyle is for, say, the wealthy, the people who have a business already in place, the people who are making a good income. But if you're just trying to come here to lower your cost of living, and you want to have like beach front type of lifestyle, live in a safe, gated community, have expat friends and that kind of stuff, then it's going to be expensive. All right. So don't fall into the trap that I did, thinking that it was going to be cheap, because I saw like 30 videos on YouTube saying that it was so cheap you could live off of $2,000 a month. Maybe if you're a backpacker and you're only here temporarily, then you could do that, but not if you're here with a family. That's not going to happen. All right, I hope that this was clear. This is real numbers, okay? This is my costs, and so obviously there's things that you could reduce on here that you're not going to necessarily have. Storage, for example, you're not going to have that. You may not have the legal. You may have a different rental. You might have a cheaper car, but then you'll probably have higher maintenance. Um, your food might be different because you are a carnivore and can live off of milk and cheap meat. um, you might not dine out a lot. You might just be one person. Obviously it's going to be a lot cheaper. This is for a family of 3 people going to private school in a gated community. And so that's what it is. All right, take care. Ciao.